Alright everyone, by all sane accounts the North Korean summit was at least a moderate success. We got at least one considerable concession out of the meeting itself, which is the return of prisoner of war remains. A difficult issue for literally thousands of people here who are still alive. They're like the children, the spouses, or whatever of Korean War the soldiers that died in Korea, usually in the north, because a lot of the fighting went on in the north and a lot of the slaughtering went on in the north. It's a significant concession. The propaganda broadcasts on both sides of the border are gone. You've got North Korea meeting with Trump. It's very amiable, seems friendly, and then at least a vague promise of further meetings, which could take place even in Pyongyang, which would be monumental. But North Korean state TV released a clip of Donald Trump saluting a North Korean general. He basically tries to shake his hand, the general salutes, and then Trump salutes back, and then they shake hands. Now, this was just a friendly display of respect that is commonly done by heads of state. But the left-wing media wanted him to disgrace the North Koreans. So you're going to go into a summit and you are going to behaviorally disrespect one of the highest-ranking military officers in their country, and then expect the summit's going to go well. If Trump had refused to salute back and had just put out his hand, it would have been a sign of significant disrespect, basically. I'm not going to honor your military. Fuck your military, you're an enemy of ours. Is that the way to start a denuclearization summit, or is that a way to make sure that the summit goes nowhere? But they wanted that to happen. See, they're pissed off because the summit went well. They know that Trump's actions at the summit were right, that he was right, his response was right. He didn't doom the summit, he didn't cause World War III, and they're mad about it. So they're trying to pick this apart and act as though Trump humiliated himself. Oh, how dare he salute the soldier from this. Soldiering is different from politics within North Korea as well. This is a military figure. He's not a public official that makes binding rules. No, and Kim Jong-un is the only one that does that. The only person with technical power in North Korea is Kim Jong-un. What, so you're going to piss on their military for, following orders? What about ours? So you're going to look at, Guantanamo or something like that, and you say, well, the commander that wasn't even there, we're going to hold him in contempt too, even though he had no idea what was going on. Do you think that all of the military generals in North Korea are even fully aware of the human rights abuses within North Korea? No, there's heavy partitioning in North Korea for a reason, to keep people unawares of what's happening elsewhere. Oh, no, it's only your province that has a problem with sending people to the rock quarry. Everywhere else, there's no prisons at all. Everything's fine. I don't know what's wrong. Just keep working at it. You're not allowed to travel, by the way. Sort of how it works. There's partitioning literally in a provincial sense within North Korea. You have to show your papers at the border of literally travel between the provinces of North Korea. Did you know that? A lot of people don't. They think you can, at least you travel around North Korea all you want. You just can't travel anywhere else. Not how it works. Because knowledge is power, so a dictator doesn't want their people to have knowledge. That doesn't mean that you show up for a major summit and you disrespect a military officer. What would have happened? Let's say that a military officer from the U.S. military was there and sort of saluted, and the North Korean general's brushes it off. It would have been a sign of disrespect. That would have been a humiliation. And by the way, if that had happened, I think Trump would have turned away and he said, fuck you, and he would have just walked out. Honestly, I think he would have. Kim Jong-un would have waddled after and said, no, please, Mr. Trump, I'm so sorry. Don't worry, I'll can that dude. I'll send him to the rock quarry. No, this is a sign of respect. It's not a sign of obedience or submission. They're trying to make it out as though it was like when Obama was bowing before the Saudi royals there. No, there's no similarity. It's simply the United States president is the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. Some people, by the way, it's a misnomer when people say, well, he's your commander-in-chief. No, not unless you're in the military. Then he's your commander-in-chief, otherwise he's just your fucking president. He's the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. He's technically a military figure in time of war. The proper thing to do, therefore, if you are saluted by a high-ranking officer from a foreign state, including those that aren't our friends, is to salute back. It's just a sign of military respect. It has nothing to do with obedience. Oh, I'm paying you obeisance by saluting you. No, you're not. You're showing respect. You've been shown respect by the officer. They've saluted you. The officer saluted him first. How the fuck is it a sign of anything beyond respect to salute back? And it was trending for a while. They're like, oh, North Korean TV is using this as propaganda. See, dotard Trump doesn't know how to behave in East Asia. That's funny. He doesn't know how to behave in East Asian countries. Of course he does. He got the summit off, didn't he? He's gotten 4 or 5 different concessions, hasn't he? You can say that there won't be denuclearization. Okay, we've still gotten concessions. Why would the North Koreans give up the prisoner of war remains anyway without anything substantial in return? Wouldn't that be considered under any other circumstances a bargaining chip? No, what you're seeing here is the result of Pompeo foreign strategy and the hiring of John Bolton. Basically, Trump's idea is, hey, I'm going to just intimidate the shit out of them. Then I'm going to say, well, we're willing to work with you, we're willing to be sane, but you've got limited time. Get to the fucking table and get to the summit. That's what happened. This isn't propaganda, by the way. The North Koreans are saying, oh, look, the U.S. president has bowed before the military of the mighty North Korean people. That's not what they're saying. No, what they're saying is, they're saluting each other. Sign of mutual respect. Yeah, this president is actually willing to talk to us, despite the fact that a year ago his own people thought he was going to press the little red button and turn us to ashes. Wow, it's a novel concept. We actually conduct diplomacy. Now, it's just so stupid. And people were taking it seriously. The fact that people here were taking the claim seriously. Do you even know Korean? Did you watch the actual program and translate it yourself to determine that the North Koreans were saying, oh, here you see weak pigman Donald Trump saluting the might of the North Korean military. Obviously, he is the subordinate within this relationship. We have prevailed for Juche. That's not what was being said. As far as we can tell, it's just a clip of him saluting. It's a symbol of respect between two sovereign nations. At this point, look, Trump has basically already won. Once you've already gotten your opponent or foe or adversary, the hostile neighbor, whatever you want to call it, you've gotten them to draw down their nuclear ambitions. They've destroyed their test site. They've claimed they'll denuclearize. They're giving you your power remains. They've stopped their propaganda broadcasts. They've come to a neutral party to hold a summit with you, to shake your hand and stuff for the first time since the 90s and so forth. You've gotten all of that. Do you really think it's wise, after all of that, to treat them with disrespect? That's not how East Asian politics... That would be the worst thing. The summit would have ended right then and there. Kim Jong-un would have turned around and walked out if Trump had refused to salute his general. He would have said, what are you doing? Oh, I'm not going to salute you. You're an enemy of mine. Okay, fuck you. They would have walked away. He would have gotten back on his Chinese airliner and he would have gone back to North Korea. That's what would have happened. He would have gone to complain to Jinping, oh, these Americans are disrespecting us. You want us to work with them. Fuck you too. We're just going to nuke you. No, we're not going to be disrespected. That's what would have happened. But you see, the CNN and MSNBC would have liked that to have happened. They wanted the summit to fail. They wanted it to collapse. They wanted Trump to do something dumb so that the North Koreans leave early and he's sitting there with President Moon saying, oh, I made an oopsie poopsie. That's basically what they want to cast him off as, basically an adult baby who doesn't know what he's doing and shits his own pants. Instead, the summit went off without a hitch. There was mutual respect. There hasn't been any negative propaganda in the wake of it, which is actually astonishing, to tell the truth. And things are moving forward still. We get the power mains. They say we'll denuclearize. Trump says it'll be quick. I hope that that's true. As for the war games, you're not hearing about that, right? Yeah, that's because they weren't slated to happen for quite some time. Once people realized that, it stopped being a good propaganda tactic to talk about it to the American public and claim Trump had done something wrong. Oh, he's abandoning our allies. He mistreats our allies and insults them, but he loves Russia and North Korea. He's not saying that. Dude, a few months ago you were criticizing him for threatening to nuke North Korea. Now you're saying that he's too buddy-buddy with them. Oh, he didn't bring up human rights abuses. Yes. Here, Kim, Asian leader who, thrives on being respected by his 10 million people population, who expects to be treated with deference at all times. You're a warmongering asshole who abuses his own population, and until we address that, I won't even shake your hand. That would be a really short summit, but that's exactly what CNN wanted and exactly what they didn't get. What they didn't get was an unhinged Trump unable to undergo diplomacy. What they got instead was a very, very calm, very respectful Trump, and they can't deal with it. They want Trump to be nuts. It's not fun to report on Trump shook his hand and got a concession. They were sort of kind of friendly and they're going to have another summit. That's not an interesting report. No, an interesting report is, the President of the United States is part of a Russian conspiracy and has bowed before the North Koreans. That gets you clickbait. That's why they reported on it. Even if it's fucking 100% totally false and they're hoping that their readers and viewers are just totally fucking morons. That's about all. Peace out.